Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, why does nothing ever change? You set goals. You write to-do lists. You get inspired for a week or two, and then you're right back where you started. Why does that happen? Well, here's the hard truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. If you're tired of temporary motivation and ready for real transformation, this video is going to change your life if you watch it through till the end. So before we dive in, go ahead, hit that like button if you're ready to break free from the cycle of false starts. Subscribe to the channel if you're serious about building a powerful, purpose-driven life. And trust me, stick around to the end. Because habit number 6, that one alone can change your entire love life. Let's dive in. A few years ago, I met someone named Arjun. He was 32, had a decent job, an okay apartment, a friend circle that looked great on Instagram, but he felt hollow. He wasn't miserable, but he wasn't alive either, just existing. He had dreams. At 22, he wanted to build a business. At 25, he thought he'd be married. At 30, he wanted financial freedom. At 32, he had none of it. What happened? Same thing that happens to most people. He was trying to change his life without changing who he was. And that's where everything shifts. Because transformation doesn't come from a big decision. It comes from tiny habits stacked daily, done with intention. I gave him 6 habits to start. 6 habits that slowly but permanently changed his life. And today I'm giving them to you. Let's break them down one by one. Habit number 1, the 5-minute morning win. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you woke up and thought about love first? Not the kind you see in movies, sir. I'm talking about your love story. Maybe it's still unfolding. Maybe it ended. Or maybe it never really began. Now pause. Go back in your memory. To that one moment, the first message, the first glance, the first time your heart beat faster than your thoughts. Can you feel that? Can you remember that version of you? Let me tell you about Arjun. Every morning he used to wake up and reach for his phone. Scroll, 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 news, notifications, deadlines. Before even brushing his teeth, his brain was drowning in noise. And here's what he told me one day. I don't feel connected to anything anymore. Not to my work, not to people, not even to love. That hit me hard, because it's not just him. It's most of us. We forget that the first few minutes of our morning are sacred. They shape everything, our energy, our mood, our ability to give and receive love. So I gave Arjun a small but powerful habit. The 5-minute morning win. Here's what it looks like. The moment you wake up, don't touch your phone. Sit with yourself. Grab a journal or even the Notes app and ask, what's one thing I can do today that will make me proud tonight? Bonus, if someone you love comes to mind, ask, how can I show love to them today without needing a reason? It might be a message, a smile, a memory you share. Arjun started doing this. At first it felt weird, but within 2 weeks he said something beautiful. I don't just feel like I'm living, I feel like I'm loving again. That's the power of intention. That's the power of 5 quiet minutes. Because when you take ownership of your mornings, you take ownership of your story. And maybe, just maybe, you start writing a love story worth remembering. Now, before we move to the next habit, let me ask you, who's the one person you've been meaning to show love to, but haven't? Think about it, because the next habit might be the very push you need. Let's keep going. Habit number 2, the rule of 2. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those days where you were busy from morning till night, but still felt like you accomplished nothing that mattered? You cleaned the inbox, responded to messages, maybe even crossed 10 things off your to-do list, but deep down, something felt missing. Now pause for a second. Think about the people you love. When's the last time you gave them your real attention? Not a distracted, while multitasking. Not a rushed text, but your presence. This habit is for that exact reason. Let me bring you back to Arjun's story. At this point, he had started doing the 5-minute morning win, and it was changing how he felt. But now came the question, how do I make actual progress in my life without burning out? And without forgetting the people I care about? Because what's success if you've got no one to share it with? So I gave him something simple, and it became his anchor. The rule of 2. Every morning, right after his journal session, he had to choose just 2 high-impact tasks for the day. Not 5, not 12, just 2. One had to be something that moved his mission forward. Career, health, personal goals. And the other, something that moved his relationships forward. Some days that second task was simple. Call mom. Surprise my girlfriend with her favorite coffee.
Have a real conversation without my phone in hand.
These weren't huge gestures, but they were intentional. And love, real love, lives in intention. Here's what happened. Arjun stopped feeling overwhelmed. He started feeling accomplished. And more than that, his girlfriend, she noticed. She said, "You're more present lately. Like the old you is back." That hit him like a wave. Because progress isn't about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters. So now I want to challenge you. If you could only do 2 meaningful things tomorrow, one for your future and one for your heart, what would they be? Think about it. Because the next habit is where your identity starts to shift. And that's where the magic really begins. Let's keep going. Habit number 3, the identity habit. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever loved someone so much that you started to change for them? You dressed better, spoke softer, grew more patient, more present. Love has a way of pulling out our best self, doesn't it? But here's the twist. What if you gave that kind of love to yourself? When I met Arjun, this was his biggest struggle. He wanted to build a business, get in shape, be a better partner. But when he looked in the mirror, all he saw was someone who used to try and always ended up quitting. You know what he said? "I feel like I'm pretending to be someone I'm not." And I said, "You're not pretending. You're just stuck in the identity of who you used to be." That's where habit number 3 was born. It's called the identity habit. And it's the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Here's how it works. Every time you make a decision, big or small, ask this question. What would the person I want to become do right now? It's subtle, but powerful. You want to get fit? Ask, what would a strong, healthy person do in this moment? Maybe they'd skip that 3rd soda. Maybe they'd stretch instead of scrolling. You want to be in a better relationship? Ask, what would a loving, emotionally mature partner do right now? Maybe they'd listen without trying to fix. Maybe they'd say, "I'm sorry" first. Arjun started doing this daily. And slowly his choices began to match his future self, not his fears. One night he told me something I'll never forget. I used to think I had to fake it till I made it. Now I realize I just had to act like the man I wanted to be, long enough for it to become real. That's the secret no one tells you. You don't become your ideal self overnight. But every aligned action lays a brick. So let me ask you, who do you want to become? And more importantly, what would they do next? Because the next habit you're about to hear will help you see that growth every single day. Let's keep going. Habit number 4, the 3 wins reflection. Let me ask you something that might hit close to home. When was the last time you laid your head on the pillow and actually felt proud of yourself? Not because of a promotion, not because someone praised you, but because you knew, deep in your gut, that you showed up as the best version of you. Yeah, most people can't remember. You see, Arjun couldn't either. Even after he started changing his mornings, his focus, his choices, he still struggled with something. He couldn't feel his progress. Every night his mind would go to war. You didn't do enough. You forgot that meeting. You snapped at her again. You still aren't where you should be. Sound familiar? No matter what he did, he always felt like he was falling short. And when you feel like a failure long enough, you start acting like one, even when you're winning. So I gave him a habit. Simple, gentle, quiet, but it changed everything. It's called the 3 wins reflection. Every night before bed, he had to write down 3 things he did well that day. Not what went wrong, not what he missed. Only, what did I do today that I can be proud of? At first it felt silly, forced, even fake. One of his first entries, didn't lose my temper when she forgot my birthday. But night after night the list grew. I spoke up in the meeting even though I was nervous. Texted my sister just to say I love her. Didn't cancel the workout even when I wanted to. Tiny wins, but real ones. After 2 weeks, he messaged me. I don't feel like I'm failing anymore. I feel like I'm becoming, and that's the shift. Because progress doesn't live in the big, shiny moments. It lives in the quiet victories you usually ignore. But when you start celebrating them, you stop needing validation from the outside. You start building confidence from the inside. So tonight, just try it. 3 wins. Write them down. Even if one of them is just, I made it through the day, you're building something beautiful. And the next habit, it'll help you protect it, especially when life tries to pull you off course. Let's keep going. Habit number 5, the 24-hour rule. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and regretted it the second it left your mouth? Maybe it was in an argument with someone you love. Maybe it was a text you deleted too late. Or worse, maybe it was walking away when all you really wanted was to be held a little longer. We've all been there. Now let me take you back to a moment in Arjun's story that almost broke him. Things were going great. His habits were taking root. He was calmer, more focused. His relationship was healing. But one night, one unexpected argument changed everything. He and his girlfriend had a disagreement. Nothing dramatic. Just built up stress, old wounds, and one misunderstood sentence. Suddenly, voices raised, defenses triggered, words thrown like knives. You know the kind of fight I'm talking about, right? She stormed out. He picked up his phone to send the final text. Maybe we're just not meant for this. But instead he stopped, because he remembered something I told him. The 24-hour rule. It's simple, but it's hard. Never make permanent decisions during temporary emotions. Give it 24 hours. No texts, no quitting, no impulsive endings. Just space, stillness, breath. So that's what Arjun did. He waited, he journaled, he reflected. And the next evening, instead of sending that breakup message, he showed up with something else, understanding. He said, I realized I wasn't angry with you. I was just scared I wasn't enough for you. That conversation saved them. But more importantly, it changed him. Because emotional control isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about knowing when to pause, so you don't burn down what you love in a moment of heat. This habit, the 24-hour rule, isn't just for relationships. It's for every part of your life. Don't quit your job after a bad day. Don't burn bridges over a misunderstanding. Don't self-destruct just because you feel broken. Give it 24 hours. Because sometimes what feels like the end of the story is just a storm, and storms pass. But regret? That tends to stick around. So let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you paused before you pushed people away? Think about it. Because the next habit, the final one, might be the one that brings love back into your life in a way you never expected. Let's finish this journey. Habit number 6, the love audit. Let's get real for a second. You can build the best morning routine. You can crush your goals. You can look successful on the outside. But if your relationships are empty, if you come home and no one's waiting, if your texts go unanswered, does it really matter? Now I want you to do something bold. Close your eyes, just for a second, and picture the last person you loved deeply. The one who made your heart feel warm without even touching you. Where are they now? Still there? Long gone? Or maybe they're lying next to you every night, and yet somehow it feels like there's 1,000 miles between you? That's where Arjun was. He'd done everything right on paper. He was growing, healing, showing up as the man he wanted to be, but still something felt off. You know what he said one night? I've become so focused on fixing myself that I forgot to see the people who've loved me even when I was broken. That's when I gave him the 6th and final habit, the love audit. Every Sunday night, he had to sit down just for 10 minutes and answer 3 simple questions. Number 1, who made me feel seen or supported this week, and did I tell them? Number 2, who did I hurt, ignore, or take for granted, and did I make it right? Number 3, who do I love, and when was the last time I showed it? Without needing a reason, he started small. A random thank you message to an old friend, an apology to his younger brother, a handwritten note to his girlfriend, left on her pillow. I see how much you carry, and I love how quietly you do it. That note, she cried. She hugged him longer than usual. She whispered, "This is the version of you I always believed was in there." That's when he got it. Love doesn't disappear. It just gets buried under life, pressure, ego, and silence. The love audit brings it back, because showing love isn't about grand gestures. It's about choosing not to forget the hearts that chose you, especially when you didn't deserve it. So here's your final reflection. Who needs to hear from you today? Not because you have to, but because you want them to feel seen? Go tell them. Because if everything else fades, love is what will remain. So now you've heard them. 6 habits. Simple, quiet, unassuming. But together, they can completely transform your life. Let me remind you. Number 1, the 5-minute morning win. So you wake up with intention, not noise. Number 2. The rule of 2. So you do what truly matters, not just what keeps you busy. Number 3. The identity habit. So your actions finally reflect the person you want to become. Number 4. The 3 wins. Reflection. So you start celebrating your quiet victories. Number 5. The 24-hour rule. So you don't destroy what you love in moments you'll regret. Number 6. The love audit. So you never forget the people who matter most. These habits changed Arjun's life, but not just his career or mindset, his love, his relationships, his entire emotional world. He became the man he always wanted to be, not through some magical transformation, but through tiny, consistent choices that aligned with his heart. Now it's your turn. You don't need to do them all at once. Start with one. Just one habit, one promise to yourself, one small shift that you'll look back on in a year and say, that's when everything changed. Because here's the truth. You don't need a new life. You just need new patterns. And if you've made it this far in the video, I want to say this. Thank you, not just for watching, but for caring enough about your life and your love to want better. And if something in this story touched you, if you saw yourself in Arjun, if you remembered someone you still care about, then don't just keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're building something powerful here. And most of all, share this with someone you love. Someone who deserves to hear this. Someone who still has time to change. And if no one's told you this lately, you're not behind. You're not broken. You're just one habit away from becoming who you were meant to be. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.